Good morning. How are you? It's a beautiful day, overcast, and it's Friday. And there are some things going that are good. This is the way I describe good. It is that some people are taking seriously the accusations of misconduct in the West Wing to overthrow the election and the government. Okay, that's a good start. But there are reservations, of course. Let's go back to the first principles. The newspapers came out with a story recently that explained how Trump put pressure on the acting attorney general to say that there was fraud in the election. And he wanted another member of the Justice Department, a guy named Clark, who was much more amenable and malleable and pliable, to circulate a letter to Georgia saying that the election was not fair, so that they would change the results. Now, the Justice Department resisted this, and there was even a meeting at the White House in which Trump directly was challenging Jeffrey Rosen, then the acting attorney general. And it was only the result of, so it seems, a whole bunch of AGs, assistant AGs in the so-called Justice Department to say, if you do this, we're all quitting. Now, that was fine as far as it went, but they should have told us this was going on, because it was the setup for June the 6th. We would have understood what was happening and been in a better position to resist it. Now, because they're saying what appears to be the truth now, we're forgiving of what they failed to do as officers of the court and as people charged by an oath to preserve and protect the Constitution, which was actively being violated by Trump and his cronies, some of whom are being subpoenaed in the special committee investigation of January the 6th on the House side of the Hill. But we had a report yesterday from the Senate that sort of rebaked things that had already been disclosed and added some additional facts. And that's all well and good. But after wringing their hands, what is the proposal for action? What is the action item? What is the coercion to get at those who acted as autocrats and thought they could defy our history of democracy and representative government? Nothing's proposed. And on the House Select Committee, we have a lawyer. And we are littered with lawyers with flimsy excuses for ethical behavior. And this one is telling those who've been subpoenaed and demanded under penalty, to bring documents to the House. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. So you may fairly ask yourself, between, overthrowing the government, putting people at risk, conspiring to do it with people known and unknown, perhaps including people on the Hill. We have candidates for that, all of whom should be witnesses before the special committee. And we have people in intelligence who may have delayed the intelligence that permitted the House and the Senate to defend itself. And nobody is doing anything about it. Now, some will say, hey, the Select Committee, they have a subpoena power, and they're going to go into court. Well, are they really? Are they going to push it? Are they going to let it drift? Now, Ruskin, who's on the committee, he said, we should seek contempt. Well, that's good. But let me underscore something as a matter of law. We learned from back in Watergate that a subpoena for documents and persons having any connection with the president in or out of office are more forceful and more respectful when it involves a criminal investigation. Now, the Hill can claim that their investigation is investigative and of that nature. But in the first rounds, when Trump was still the president, the courts have not looked at them as equal and made the distinction I'm talking about. And since these are crimes and the trail is getting cold, we should have a U.S. attorney or a special prosecutor. But we don't. Why? Now, we can point to Garland and say he's asleep at the switch. But it's gone on so long, he must be authorized to do nothing by Biden. And Biden is wrong. I respect him. I think he's a good leader, but he's got this one wrong. This is an ongoing danger, a constant danger to our republic, and it's not receding. And there are, across the nation, people who are doing all manner of illegal conduct about elections so that the midterms are the run-up to taking back the White House with Trump as the president. We have to keep in mind we don't want the criminal to return to the scene of the crime and take control of the powers of the office to the nation's disadvantage as a Republican democracy and give it to this monarchical ne'er-do-well. So that's our challenge. And what is the answer? The answer is the House and the Senate, every Democrat has to demand a criminal investigation. This is beyond the toolbox of a legislative investigation that works in 5-minute clumps and behind closed doors interviews, and then has got nothing more to say but a report or maybe some legislation that may or may not pass on the Hill. Also, we have to keep in mind that if we lose the midterms, if there's a prosecutor in place, he, she, they can continue to investigate. Also, they become a factor in the election, a legitimate one, that a person who is a criminal has no business being in the Oval Office. So that's my beef. Here in Virginia, we see the Trump imprint. He's endorsed the candidate for governor, and the literature that's being circulated is downright anti-Semitic and racist. Caricatures of people with long noses and persons of color in compromised situations politically to scare voters to go out and vote. And so for that reason, I'm hopeful that my fellow and gal Virginians are not sleeping like Garland and are out there doing something. So those are my observations this Friday, and I'll see what happens today and talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.